The moon hung low over the sprawling ranch, casting silver light across the fields. May, the young Chinese bride, stood at the edge of the barn, her hands nervously clutching the hem of her dress. She had left everything familiar behind, her family, her home, the bustling streets of her city, to step into a world she barely understood. The ranch was vast, quiet, and intimidating, and tonight was her first night in this new life. The rancher, a tall, weathered man named James, approached slowly. His face was kind, though lined with years of hard work, and his eyes softened when they met hers. May's heart raced. She had been told stories about ranch life, about its challenges and isolation, and she felt unprepared. "Please be gentle," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rustle of the wind through the trees. "It's my first night." James nodded, understanding more than she could imagine. He offered a reassuring smile and took her hand, leading her toward the warmth of the main house. Along the way, he showed her the animals, the fences, and the fields she would soon help tend. Every step was new, and every sight unfamiliar, but she began to feel a fragile sense of trust. By the time they reached the porch, May's initial fear had softened into curiosity. She realized this life would not be easy, but it could be full of quiet moments of beauty, the way the horses moved in the moonlight, the smell of fresh hay, the simple honesty of hard work. That night, as they sat together watching the stars, May understood that gentleness wasn't just about her words. It was about patience, guidance, and the slow building of a life together in this strange, wide-open world. The morning sun spilled over the horizon, painting the ranch in shades of gold and amber. May awoke to the soft sounds of roosters crowing and the distant lowing of cattle. The scent of fresh hay and dew filled the air, reminding her that this was no longer the bustling city she had known. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. Today would be her first real day helping on the ranch, and the unknown both excited and terrified her. James appeared in the doorway, carrying a steaming cup of tea. "Good morning," he said, his voice gentle but steady. "I thought you might like something warm before we start." May accepted the cup, her fingers brushing his briefly, and felt a tiny spark of reassurance. She followed him out into the yard, where the animals awaited, each one a lesson in patience and care. He began with the horses, explaining how to approach them slowly and read their moods. May listened intently, her hands trembling as she reached out to brush one of the animals. The horse nickered softly, as if approving her cautious touch, and a small smile crept across her face. James watched silently, offering corrections only when necessary, his calm presence helping her overcome her anxiety. As the day wore on, May stumbled and fumbled through chores, dropping a bucket here and misplacing a tool there, but James never scolded. Instead, he guided her with patience, showing her the rhythm of ranch life. By sunset, her arms ached, her clothes were dusty, but she felt a quiet pride swelling inside her. For the first time since arriving, May realized that this unfamiliar world could become home, and that trust, care, and gentle guidance could turn fear into confidence. That evening, as they shared a simple dinner, May's heart felt lighter, knowing she was beginning to belong to this vast, quiet place, and to the man who patiently helped her find her footing. The days on the ranch grew longer, and May began to notice a rhythm she hadn't expected. The sun rose early, painting the fields in brilliant colors, and set late, leaving trails of pink and orange across the sky. She had learned to wake with the roosters, feed the animals, and even ride alongside James as he checked the fences and fields. Every task was a challenge, but with each completed chore, her confidence grew. One afternoon, while carrying a basket of freshly gathered eggs, May stumbled on the uneven ground. A sharp pang of frustration hit her, but before she could speak, James was at her side. "It's all right," he said gently, steadying her with a firm yet kind hand. "Nobody learns everything the first time. One step at a time." His calm reassurance soothed her, and she realized that this life, while demanding, also offered patience and understanding she hadn't known before. As they walked back toward the house, May took in the sights around her, the rolling fields, the grazing animals, and the small creek that sparkled in the sunlight. It all seemed so different from the crowded streets and noise of her old home. She began to understand that there was beauty in simplicity, in the work that connected her to the land and to those who lived on it. That evening, as they repaired a fence together, May laughed at a small mishap, and James chuckled along with her. The shared moments, small and unremarkable to anyone else, were forming the foundation of trust and friendship between them. By the time the sun disappeared behind the hills, May felt a growing sense of belonging. She had survived the first few days, learned lessons from mistakes, and discovered that with patience, guidance, and gentle encouragement, even the most foreign of worlds could start to feel like home. The ranch had begun to feel like home, but not everything came easily. One morning, a sudden storm rolled in, dark clouds swallowing the sky and wind whipping through the fields. May clutched her coat tightly, the first real test of her courage on the ranch. The animals were restless, the horses whinnying, and the cattle huddling together, sensing the change in the weather. James moved with calm urgency, directing her and the workers to secure the animals and shelter them from the storm. At first, May felt overwhelmed. The wind tore at her hair, rain soaked her clothes, and the sheer force of nature left her trembling. But James remained by her side, guiding her hands, showing her how to tie down a loose gate and reassure the frightened animals. "You're stronger than you think," he said over the roar of the storm. His steady presence reminded her that even in chaos, there could be order and calm if approached with patience. By mid-afternoon, the storm began to subside, leaving the fields glistening and the air fresh with the scent of rain. May stood beside James, exhausted but proud. She had faced her fears, helped the animals find safety, and learned how to navigate the unpredictable challenges of ranch life. For the first time, she understood that living here meant embracing both hardship and beauty in equal measure. As they walked back to the house, the sun breaking through the clouds, May felt a quiet triumph. The ranch was not just a place of work, it was a world where resilience, trust, and courage were as important as strength and skill. And with James guiding her patiently, she knew she could face whatever came next. That night, as she settled into her room, she felt a growing sense of belonging, a knowledge that she was no longer just a visitor, she was becoming part of this vast, wild, and demanding land. The weeks passed, and May felt herself becoming a part of the ranch in ways she hadn't imagined. She woke with the sun, tended the animals, and learned to anticipate the needs of the land. Each day brought new lessons: how to mend a fence without breaking it, how to calm a skittish horse, how to predict the weather by the smell of the earth. What had once seemed daunting now felt natural, and she carried a quiet pride in every task she completed. James watched her progress with a mixture of respect and admiration. He had always known that life on the ranch demanded patience and determination, but May had embraced both with surprising grace. One evening, as they walked along the edge of the fields, the golden sunset casting long shadows, he smiled at her. "You've come a long way," he said. "I think you're ready for anything this place can throw at you." May laughed softly, feeling a warmth in her chest. She had faced storms, long days, and endless challenges, and now she could meet them with confidence. That night, as she stood on the porch watching the stars, May reflected on her journey. She remembered the fear she had felt on her first night, the uncertainty of every step, and the kindness that had guided her through it all. Now, she felt a sense of belonging she hadn't thought possible. The ranch was no longer just James's home, it was hers too. She knew that life here would continue to test her, but she no longer felt afraid. With patience, trust, and determination, she had found her place. The wide-open fields, the quiet rhythm of work, and the steady presence of James had become a world she could call home. For the first time, May truly believed she belonged.